Picture this. You're sitting in your Cambridge IT 96 exam. You spot a question on direct and indirect data sources and think, yes, easy win, right? Well, what if I told you that a tiny, almost invisible mistake in how you're structuring your answer is literally bleeding your marks dry? In this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why that happens, why your ordinary revision methods are totally failing you, and the precise step-by-step framework you absolutely need to guarantee those top band marks.
So you write down this flawless textbook definition. Direct data is data collected for a specific purpose. The exam clock is ticking, you feel like an absolute genius, and you move on. But then the results come back, and the examiner gives you a big fat 0 for this. Wait, why? How can a statement that is 100% factually correct be worth absolutely nothing in an IT exam?
Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Ordinary revision fails because simply naming a concept without any context, using vague wording, or skipping clear process steps will literally never achieve top bands. Memorizing facts in total isolation, it's a huge trap. The biggest pitfall of all, and the exact reason that definition we just saw scored a 0, is failing to anchor your knowledge to the specific scenario provided in the question.
To stop hemorrhaging marks, we first need to fundamentally distinguish between the two core concepts we're dealing with here. It's a pretty clear comparison, right? Direct data is collected firsthand for a specific current problem. On the flip side, indirect data is acquired from existing third-party sources. It's kind of like the difference between a business actually going out and conducting a brand new customer survey themselves versus just taking the easy route and buying a market research report that already exists.
Let's look even closer at the formal definition. Direct data is data collected originally by a user for the specific current problem or task it is intended to solve. Getting a solid grip on this theoretical foundation is your first quick win, for sure. It gives you the raw terminology you need. But, and this is crucial, remember that defining it is only step 1 in the examiner's eyes. It gets you onto the playing field, but it definitely doesn't win the game.
Now, in just a moment, I'll show you the exact examiner clue that changes your answer completely. But first, you need the framework that makes that clue obvious. Because honestly, without this framework, you're basically flying blind and just crossing your fingers, hoping the examiner guesses what you mean. Okay, let's dive right into this framework. It's called the Peel framework, and it's a super disciplined path that ensures you construct a really robust, layered answer. First, you make your point by classifying the data. Then you provide evidence from the text. Next, you move into a clear explanation of the sequence, and finally, you link it all together, sometimes capping it off with a judgment. This mirrors exactly how marks are handed out in extended responses, because it literally forces you to be specific instead of generic.
Let's see how this actually builds in practice. I want you to actively engage with me here. We're going to apply this framework to a realistic 9626 scenario involving a hospital's IT system. So pause for a second and try to predict, can you spot the fatal error in this upcoming student response?
Take a really close look at this flawed student answer. The hospital uses indirect data because it saves time and money compared to collecting direct data. I mean, it sounds perfectly logical, doesn't it? But it states a highly generic point and completely fails to use accurate IT terminology or explain the actual technical mechanism at play within the hospital context. It is completely unanchored.
Just look at the profound difference between these two approaches. The top-end improved answer completely transforms that vague, saves time and money phrase. See how the examiner correction anchors the explanation directly to the hospital scenario by bringing in existing patient records? And even more importantly, it explains how it saves time. It literally bypasses the validation stage needed for direct data, accelerating diagnosis. It perfectly applies the IT theory to a real-world consequence.
So, here is your absolutely crucial takeaway, the missing link. You must always anchor your explanation directly to the given scenario. Generic points rarely, if ever, gain full marks in AS-level IT. If the context is a secure website, talk about encryption and user login. If it's a spreadsheet task, you better mention formulas and cell referencing. Your technical knowledge has to solve the exact problem presented in the prompt.
To guarantee you're building answers with enough depth every single time, use this structure. It's a reliable memory tool based on 4 core prompts. What is it? How does it work? Where is it used? And why is it better or worse than the alternative? If you can answer these 4 prompts aloud for literally any technology or concept on the syllabus, you are genuinely ready for the exam. Let's escalate this to a harder example to really test it out. Typical AS-level IT errors constantly pop up when students confuse direct and indirect data with nearby concepts, like validation and verification. Validation is checking data against rules, right? While verification is checking data for accuracy during entry. So if you're explaining why indirect data is faster, you might mention skipping validation, but you absolutely still need to understand the difference. Blurring these lines will immediately cap your score. No exceptions.
But hey, don't just take my word for it. Check out this direct examiner insight. Students lose marks by listing undeveloped points, naming a technique without explaining how it works, or describing a different technology. These insights reveal a pretty hard truth. You cannot just name-drop vocabulary onto the page. You have to construct a layered explanation that justifies your practical software choices and meticulously connects the dots for the examiner.
So to totally prevent those undeveloped points, here's your pre-submission checkpoint. Write down this short checklist to run through before submitting your exam answer. Ask yourself, did I correctly classify the data type? Is the specific hardware or software identified? Did I explain the process sequence? And the big one, is it clearly linked to the scenario? Doing this ensures you aren't leaving any easy marks on the table.
Okay, so let's say you've mastered the scenario anchor. Your Peel framework is flawless. You rigorously ran through the checklist. But what if there is one hidden cause that can still completely tank your perfectly crafted answer? Yeah, it actually happens. You can do everything 100% right with the technical content, but still end up with a fraction of the marks you deserve.
That completely unresolved problem lies entirely in one thing: misinterpreting specific command words. This is the hidden cause that truly decides your mark band. Think about it. If an examiner uses the word evaluate and your perfect Peel framework only manages to explain, you've just answered the wrong question. These command words completely alter what the examiner is secretly asking you to do with the information. You cannot let command words be your downfall after working so hard on the content. So ask yourself, when an examiner says evaluate, are you actually evaluating or are you just explaining? To diagnose this hidden cause, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Ace the Exams, at acetheexams_IGCSE to excel in your Cambridge examinations, and join us right now in our mandatory Next Explainer breaking down these critical command words. We're going to decode exactly what the examiner wants so you never lose a mark again. See you there.